This is a demonstration of the vulnerability and exploit correlation engine called CySploit. CySploit provides near real-time detection of vulnerabilities and correlates them to real-world exploits of those vulnerabilities. The benefit here is you no longer need to triage vulnerabilities based on the CVE. The CVE is a criticality and it's a rating of the vulnerability. The difference here is that you can now base the vulnerability on the real-world exploits that are available for the vulnerability and no longer the CVE. Allow me to explain. Normally you triage vulnerabilities based on the CVE value, which is the criticality value. This is a value that rates a vulnerability from 10 through to 1. So typically you would triage a vulnerability based on 10 first, then 9, then 8, and so on and so forth, all the way to 1. CySploit provides an alternative. It provides a way to triage vulnerabilities based on the exploits that are available in the real world by correlating those CVEs to the exploits that are available to anyone in the real world. So now it's urgency based and it's based on the ease of performing the exploit, noting that the exploit is available. All of the results that are gathered through CySploit are sent to your central SIEM, which is your central log correlation system, or to your security operations center team. So that team, the security operations center team, who have the eyes on glass, who are constantly monitoring your central log sources or your SIEMs, can see this information in near real time. The SIEM that we are using here is called Greylog. However, this data can be sent to any SIEM as the information is sent via syslog, and any SIEM capable of receiving syslog will be able to process this information. This is a real-time demonstration, and as you can see, time is progressing. We have currently launched the CySploit tool against 2 different websites. One is called vulnerable.cyberautomation.com. The other is insecure.cyberautomation.com. These are 2 sample and demonstration websites. Right now, in real time, we can see that we have the information from both of those systems. Let's examine. By looking at the second exploit, we can see that it has a number of vulnerabilities and they have various ratings. You can see some are rated at 5, others are rated much higher. There are others that are 9.3. Now the importance here is that the vulnerabilities now are linked to exploits available on the internet. So what we can do is then see those actual exploits. And here is a great example. It links those vulnerabilities to exploit DB and to the actual exploit themselves, so that you can test those exploits for yourself. But either way, showing and highlighting how critical those vulnerabilities are, because there is an exploit that's available to compromise those systems in the wild. Let's have a look at another one. And here is another one. Again, source code is provided, so you can see those vulnerabilities and test it for yourself. Either way, the fact that it's linked to a real-world exploit shows that there's greater urgency for that particular exploit than maybe others that may be rated slightly higher. Now, if we were to have a look at the other system, it would show us other exploits. And again, once the exploit is highlighted, it's important because it shows that this is how that particular exploit would be leveraged in the wild against your system. And so having the actual correlation to the exploit shows the severity, but also the urgency in patching that system based on the exploit being available in the wild. It's important to note here that CySploit will also highlight and provide the module that can be used if a vulnerability has an exploit via Metasploit available to it as well. So where there's a Metasploit module, that will also be highlighted. The system's quite easy to use and only requires a couple of inputs. The first being the actual names of the systems, and that's inputted in a targets file. And here we have vulnerable.cyberautomation and insecure.cyberautomation. These are not real systems. These are used for demonstration purposes. The other configuration is to outline exactly where the SIEM is. Where is that syslog server, the port that is listening on, and the protocol. And once those are configured and CySploit is run, then all of that information is harvested. It's important to note once again that this can be run in perpetuity in real time against all of your assets to therefore provide your SIEM, SOC, and security team real-time information on the security and urgency of those particular systems based on the vulnerabilities that are available and the exploits that are available in the wild. Thank you very much for your time, and that ends this demonstration.